I tried to call him sick, but nobody let me. All right, the first person on our open forum is Betty Becerra. Meyer? Minor, yes, ma'am. If you'd approach the podium. And you will have 5 minutes to speak. Oh,
I'm the same.
I got you. My name is Judge Shane Brassel, the county judge, Commissioner Precinct 1.
Jim Holcomb.
I forget. Larry Crumpton.
Precinct 2.
Scotty Hawkins, precinct 3.
Martin Maloney, precinct 4.
Nicole Tanner, county clerk.
And
Yes, sir. Eric McGee, he's outside counsel.
Yeah, I'm about to.
Always gave 30 seconds to speak.
All right, I'm sorry, Miss Becerra.
Minor.
Minor. You can begin.
My name is Betty Becerra Minor. I live on a farm 1 mile east of Abbott. My property borders the proposed data center site. This is a working farm with cattle and row crops. Ours is a 100-year continuously operated farm, passed down from my grandfather to my mother and now to me. The farm and Social Security are my only income. My mother, who passed away at 103 not long ago, would be appalled that what you consider progress will kill the land she loved. A data center will not benefit Abbott, but will transform it forever. Once a small, thriving rural community with an excellent school district will become a place where the only residents are those who cannot afford to leave, unlike the developers and their allies who inflicted this harm. And have our elected officials seen dollar signs too? How many knew what was being planned for Hill County and kept it under the radar until plans were leaked? What is a data center? It's a monster that creates a constant hum, vibrates the land, radiates light at night seen for miles. And what about water usage? My property is near the end of the line for the chat water supply. My water pressure is terrible. And where is the data center getting the billions of gallons of water that it requires? What if our cattle's tank is contaminated? What if the ecosystem becomes so compromised that our animals get sick? Wild critters will die, the bees leave, water wells and the aquifer go dry. What then? But worst of all, what about their effects on human health? There are scientific studies that elected officials have ignored. Where are the TCEQ environmental impact studies? I believe that our public and elected officials have been hoodwinked. The people you represent aren't country bumpkins. We are hardworking farmers, ranchers, and agriculture businesses and their employees. You are compromising our and our children's health and our livelihood, while a few people get rich and move on. We already have data centers in Whitney and Hubbard. That's too many. You can help us stop it. Are you going to ignore us or stand with us against more of these monster centers? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Lauren.
First of all, thank you so much for all that you are doing. I'm going to be as brief as I can. The commissioners and judge, we are seeing an influx of corporations coming into Hill County. I brought some maps that show all the current and proposed data centers, the gas-fired power plants, solar, wind farms, investment facilities within the Hill County line. If I just right, I'm gonna give you this now. The yellow, so the black dots, the black areas are reinvestment zones and property line. The yellow is solar, the red is data and power plants, and the blue is wind. And also there's a list of the sites that we could find online from, the county records and the public records as well. But with this is coming pressure on local landowners that she's sharing. These are tax-paying residents who do not have the protection of city zoning and who feel the pace of this development here is faster than the county's ability to fully evaluate its impacts. I've spoken with residents and friends who feel that they may have to sell their homes and land, not because they want to, but because they do not know what industrial development next to them would mean for their property values, quality of life, and the ability to remain in their homes. When you are unsure if your neighbors have signed NDAs to sell to these LLCs, suddenly your future seems uncertain. The impacts of these data centers on the air, water, livestock, and humans remain uncertain, and the pressure to sell and get out what you still can is strong. These facilities have not even been built yet, and already they are affecting the decisions families make about their homes, their livelihoods, and their future in this county. Some families in this room are already asking themselves the question they never expected to ask: do we need to move? And for those who do stay, if their largest asset, their homes and land, lose substantial value because of these industrial projects, that is not just an economic concern, it is a property rights concern. It is also an agricultural concern, as Texas voters recently amended the Constitution to protect farming, ranching, and wildlife management because they recognize their importance to the future of this state and to this county. Constitutional property rights include the right to sell land to a developer, but also the right of existing families to continue living on and preserving the homes and ranches that they have invested for decades. So I'm not even going to mention how these concerns extend beyond property values into public health and safety, because I think others will be addressing the inadequate fire safety plan this one of the waivers is proposing. There's also, not to mention, the 2 power plants that are proposed for this county. To conclude, we are not asking the county to take away anyone's constitutional rights. We are asking this court to ensure that one, landowner's decision does not impose unintended impacts on surrounding property owners who choose to remain. Whether this waiver is granted, the moratorium is lifted, or the moratorium remains, we are asking you to use every lawful tool available and provided to you to protect the 40,000 residents of Hill County. Not because it's easy, but it's because it's your responsibility. The decisions made today will shape Hill County for decades, and we are asking you to make them with the long-term interests of its residents in mind. So have a map of the proposed site and Files Valley, Naperville on the county line. And the hazardous air pollutants they're proposing to emit from that power plant. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Olivia Hoffner.
They're all with me. Okay. I'm like a good handout, I'm a teacher for a brief period of time. So let's see. I believe my husband, he was gonna give us time to have to sign up online and just wanted to make sure that he was going to be able to do that. Okay. All right, good morning. Today I'm going to address the waiver being requested by Abbott Land Holdings for the County Road 3106 data center project. I can give you a bunch of reasons why you shouldn't grant this waiver and why I think it's a joke. First, the amount of money is laughable. $200,000 will not even begin to cover the road damage done or the fire equipment needed. Rent and home prices in the area will skyrocket during construction, forcing people to abandon the area. Water will become polluted or scarce, but I think y'all know most of that. Abbott Land Holdings says they will remove buildings or generators or something to mitigate the sound. I have a hard time believing that they will take care of the problem if they've been working on this for months and can't tell you exactly how they'll fix it. Don't take their word for it, make them show you. The Nexus data center in Hubbard says, this is a quote from the Lakelander, says that the company has performed ambient noise surveys and will build a final design that keeps noise levels at 65 decibels or less, which is the noise level of a normal conversation. Is that the same plan for this data center? I don't know about you, but 65 decibels 24/7 doesn't sound quiet. I use my sound meter to test my child's noise machine to be sure it stays under 50 decibels, because anything over 50 decibels for longer than 8 hours can be damaging long-term to their hearing, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics. Also, like my friend said, when I read that to her, she said, that's like having somebody talking to you nonstop all the time. They simply have not done their due diligence. They say there are no studies, but surprise, a simple Google search showed me these studies. ASU and Cambridge both have recent studies that talk about heat islands surrounding these data centers. They can raise the surrounding temperature of the area by as much as 4 degrees, according to one ASU study, and up to 16 degrees near major data centers. We live in Texas where it can already be over 100 degrees or more than a month, for more than a month. These vests are already here and more are coming. If we start at the root, we might be able to get a grip on this. That's why I enlisted the help of Cliff Williams from Van Zandt County. He was gracious enough to share with me some information and letters that he, along with the DA of Van Zandt County, sent to the companies planning to build facilities in their county containing the best systems, and that includes solar and wind. So I'm gonna read it to you. It's not the most exciting thing, but I think it's important to hear. So this would be addressed to the company regarding best systems. Says your company has initiated construction of the above referenced BESS located roughly, and then you'd give the address in Hill County. As the authority having jurisdiction for Hill County, I'm sending this letter to obtain information for the protection of the public health, safety, and welfare of Hill County residents. The request is in accord with the National Fire Protection Association, Section 855-4222, and the Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 233. The request is from the authority having jurisdiction, it's y'all, and that authority shall be defined as the Hill County Commissioners Court and any future Hill County Fire Marshal. The state of Texas has adopted the NFPA codes, and by default, Hill County uses the codes adopted by the state fire marshal. The section numbers below are references to the NFP 855. Please note that the authority having jurisdiction has not authorized the use of ESS dedicated use buildings without the protection of automatic fire control and suppression systems. To that end, please provide the fire and explosion testing in compliance with 9151 and 9152, which are test reports, if you should desire to seek authority to eliminate the fire control and suppression systems. If you have not provided the information required, the authority having jurisdiction shall be inspecting the dedicated use buildings for the required protection of automatic fire control and suppression in the constituent systems. According to the NFP 855, it is in the sole discretion of the authority having jurisdiction to allow the BESS to become operational without the required automatic fire control and suppression systems. If this site is installing non-technical ESS, there must be a permanent source of water for fire protection. Please indicate your permanent source of water at volumes which meet the NFPA 1142 requirements for the project. Please provide your complete commissioning plan in accord with 6132, which describes the means and methods necessary to document and verify that the system and its associated controls and safety systems, as required by this standard, are in proper working condition. The minimum information required for this request is
Mr. Hoffman.
One, an overview of the commissioning process developed specifically for the ESS to be installed and narrative description of the activities to be conducted. Two, roles and responsibilities for all those involved in the design, commissioning, construction, installation, and operation of the system. 3, means and methods whereby the commissioning plan will be made available during the implementation of the ESS project. 4, plans and specifications necessary to understand the operation of the ESS and all associated operational controls and safety systems. 5, a detailed description of each activity to be conducted during the commissioning process, who will perform each activity, and at what point in time the activity is to be conducted. 6, procedures to be used in documenting the proper operation of the ESS and all associated operational controls and safety systems. 7, testing for any required fire detection or suppression and thermal management, ventilation, or exhaust systems associated with the installation and verification of proper operation of the safety controls. 8, the following documentation: A, commissioning checklist. B, relevant operational testing form. C, necessary commissioning logs. D, progress reports. 9, means and methods whereby facility operation and maintenance staff will be trained on the system. 10, identification of personnel who are qualified to service and maintain the system and respond to incidents involving each system. 11, a decommissioning plan meeting the provisions of section 8.1 that covers the removal of the system from the service and from the facility in which it is located, and information on disposal of material associated with each ESS. The commissioning report shall document the commissioning process as a result in accordance, and it has a few numbers that I'm not going to read every number. For your reference, these have been outlined as follows. A commissioning report shall summarize the commissioning process and verify the proper operation of the system and associated operational controls and safety systems. The report shall include final commissioning plan, the results of the commissioning process, and a copy of the plans and specifications associated with them, with the as-built system design and installation. The report shall include any issues identified during commissioning and the measure taken to resolve them. Your installation is placing the ESS batteries in a container outdoors, and the installation must comply with one of the following. The container shall be provided with the explosion control complying with 96563. Combination of the container and cabinet shall be tested together to show compliance with 96561. Please provide the compliance with 96561 in your response to this request. Please provide a copy of the approved emergency and operation for plan for the authority having jurisdiction. Hill County requires the items outlined in this letter to be provided, and the authority having jurisdiction must complete the review and approval prior to the best becoming operational. We've written a second letter that changes the language a little bit to address ones that are already built too. And this says that please respond to this inquiry within 20 business days. Your response should be directed to my office and attention. So my friend, ironically enough, at church last night, ended up sitting by the fire chief of Hillsborough and asked for his feedback. He graciously responded and gave his critique, which I have included in your papers and will include in a follow-up email. I know the letter isn't quite perfect and you gentlemen are gonna need to change it however you like and however you should. I'm gonna ask that you put it on the next available agenda. Lastly, Hill County is changing. I think Mr. Linus said something like that last week. With the change comes population changes, economic changes, and policy and law changes. Change is almost never easy, especially when it's forced. I thank the judge and commissioners for the work y'all have done, and I realize the rate of change has come at rapid speed. With that said, the people are here to work alongside you all. A lawsuit's no small thing, especially when there are lots of zeros behind it. But please know there's so much more to be said for the courage than for giving in. I don't know how this whole thing ends. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. I have no idea. But I just know that there's so many people in the room or watching that have different talents and are more than willing to offer their services and time to you. Please don't let this talent go to waste. We are here to help in any way we can. Thank you.
Thank you. First coach. Morning.
First, let me thank you for your diligence and time and the backbone that you've shown to stand up to the proper development of data centers that concerns all of us in the county. My name is Chris Coach. I am a resident of Hill County. I'm a taxpayer. I'm also a CEO of a technologically developed corporation that innovates waste heat capture and advanced thermal recovery systems. I'm not here advocating on the pro or the con of data centers. Data centers have become a way of life for everybody in America. They're an everyday use and technology of what we do. I am here to enlighten you on some national policies that are currently in place that we often overlook from the local level and a state level, and that you have levers and actions to pull within the United States government and throughout the state. The National Security Alignment, Federal Oversight and Enforcement. The maintaining of technological leadership is a national security imperative established by the July 2025 Federal AI Infrastructure Framework. This despite many of the local data centers rushing proposals to state governments and local governments directly without oversight fail to consistently adhere to the federally mandated objectives. To bridge this gap, it is essential that the local government's oversight be strengthened to ensure that the existing laws and policies, such as the 2024 National Defense Authorization Act and the July 2025 Executive Order, are properly and actively implemented and enforced. These directives already provide a robust legal foundation for aligning local developments and national security goals. The 2024 NDAA specifically outlines national standards for critical infrastructures, including data centers, requiring the transparency of power, water, emissions disclosure, robust infrastructure design with resilience and redundancy and integration of efficiency, including waste heat recovery and thermal capture systems. The July 2023-25 Executive Order builds upon those provisions, directing federal agencies to enforce the NDAA standards and the CISA guidelines, emphasizing the transparency and the adoption of hardened civil engineered designs. This means not standing warehouse style buildings. This means semi-submerged or underground or or hybrid systems, meaning that we have minimal landscape impact environment. Government agencies must now actively oversee compliance, ensuring that these approved requirements are uniformly applied to all data center developments. The county commissioners and the local community residents have a civic responsibility to play a pivotal role in advocating the federal government oversight and enforcement. We all possess the authority and responsibility to demand that local impacts are aligned with the federal priorities already signed into law. Commissioners should formally welcome and encourage community engagement, urging residents to contact state and federal legislators and agencies, including the Department of Energy, Department of Interior, USDA, EPA, and the White House directly to insist on the following actions. Enforcement of the executive orders and laws in accordance with the 2024 NDAA provisions, infrastructure resilience. Establishment and maintenance of the national baseline standards for data centers as a critical infrastructural and national security issue. Mandatory transparency in power, water, and emissions disclosure as required under these statutes already in place. Implementation of hardened infrastructure designs, including resilience and redundancy planning. Integration of energy efficiency and waste heat recovery standard practices and operating systems. A unified national approach grounded in the NDAA and reinforced by the executive order ensures that us, rural counties, are recognized as strategic partners rather than unregulated infrastructure zones. Commissioners should adopt a formal stance advocating these alignment on federal policies with local interests and insist that federal representatives oversee and enforce compliance with existing laws. This active advocacy is crucial to ensure the national policy accurately reflects the community needs and its realities. To bolster your position, commissioners must reference these acts in establishing national standards for security, transparency, and energy efficiency. The July 2025 executive order mandates the alignment with the NDAA and the CISA. The CISA stands for the Cyber Security Infrastructure Security Agency Guidance.
Your time's up. Thank you, sir.
I'm yielding to you again.
Give it to him.
Hold on.
These documents clearly outline the federal government requirement for data centers, including transparency, energy, and resilient hardened infrastructure design. The critical infrastructure security resilience policy further defined the data centers as national security risk situations. They are not to be tracked by satellites. They are not to be visibly enabling to nefarious enemies throughout against the U.S. government. The infrastructure towards national security, providing a robust guidelines for risk mitigation, cybersecurity, and operational continuity. Commissioners should leverage these federal policies to advocate consistent standards and rigorous government oversight, safeguarding both the physical and digital aspects for data center operations. The July 2025 executive order directs federal agencies to enforce the NDAA provisions, CISA guidelines, underscoring the need for transparency, energy efficiency, and resilient infrastructure. This comprehensive approach emphasizes the necessity of federal accountability and uniform national enforcement. It alleviates the local governments to negotiate expected national interest standards under the law to be upheld and will not tolerate weak oversight or inconsistent regulation. By citing these policies and the executive order, commissioners send a clear message: the law is already in play, and it's the government's responsibility to oversee and enforce compliance with the approved laws and policies, ensuring that all data centers meet the national security and the community stewardship standards. In closing, the data centers and AI have become the lifeblood of modern America, quietly powering systems that sustain our economy, support our government, and connect our communities. Every American relies on these technologies, whether it's to run a local business, receive quality healthcare, perceive the freedoms we all cherish. Upholding American position in global technology leader requires unwavering commitment to transparency, strict government enforced standards that not only foster innovation and drive the national prosperity, but also safeguard our collective security and way of life. It is the duty, not the responsibility of the local governments and the rural citizens to enforce these standards as in law, ensuring that everyday data centers, regardless of the location, meets both the national mandates and the expectations of American national security. This responsibility goes beyond mere compliance. It is about protecting our farmland, nurturing our agricultural heritage, and guaranteeing the freedoms that define us as a nation. By honoring these principles, we preserve the American dream for future generations. We reinforce our unity and uphold the patriotic values that we have always set us apart. To neglect this trust is to risk not only the integrity of our infrastructure to our enemies, but the very rights and livelihoods that make our country strong, resilient, and free. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, son.
Natalie Strickland. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. My name is Adelie Strickland. I'm an active firefighter, an EMT, and the president of Abbott Fire. My responsibility is simple. It's to protect the people of Hill County from preventable dangers. The waiver in front of you is a dangerous abdication of your official duties that puts this community at an unacceptable catastrophic risk. Miss Olivia already gave you the numbers. I'm here to put this all in simple terms. Let's start with the waiver. No person beyond official should ever sign a waiver that has the word error as a placeholder in the middle of the document. The waiver removes all accountability. The company is asking to be exempt from all future county rules, laws, and regulations forever. No corporation should ever opt out of future safety laws. Fire codes evolve because tragedies teach us lessons. Let us not forget the West explosion where we lost 12 first responders because we underestimated the risk. We currently have no fire marshal or fire inspector in Hill County. Under Texas Code Chapter 233, the court is primary authority over county and fire structure safety. The law is clear. When you choose to operate without a marshal or an inspector, the legal accountability of subsequent industrial accidents, injuries, and deaths falls on this commissioner's court. If you lack the capabilities to police massive tech facilities, Chapter 233 mandates that you bring in a third-party expert to do the job before approving any construction. You don't get to sign a waiver and walk away. Next, the developer is actively evading life safety standards. Under NFPA 855, they must complete a structured emergency response plan and finish all responder training before equipment arrives on site. Yet they have provided no plans, no training, and zero large-scale fire testing data proving their systems meet the UL 9540 safety standards. Additionally, our municipal water supply is completely inadequate for this hazard class. Every fire safety commitment in this text relies on a good faith, commercially reasonable effort. That is a corporate loophole, not a requirement. Because of that good faith clause, when their infrastructure fails, the massive financial burden then falls on the taxpayer. We can't even fix our roads right now. Where are you going to get the millions of dollars to remediate an industrial accident? Texas Health and Safety Code 121.003 explicitly states the Commissioner's Court of a county may enforce any law that is reasonably necessary to protect public health. You have a legal mandate to protect us, not give our regulatory power to a corporation. Now, let me state one thing here. I work in data analytics and data visualization. So the irony is not lost on me at all. But the advancement of technology must come with responsibility. Thank you. I'm gonna keep standing here because I know John Hanson
John
tried to
Hanson.
get me. All right, as I said, I'm in data analytics with AI. So what did I do? I ran a full scenario of what would happen if that data center caught fire. Okay, I did not provide it to you guys today. Simply, I didn't have enough time. I work, I have 5 kids, I'm a volunteer. There's only so many hours in a day. I'm also Hazmat Pro Board certified, so yes, I do know what I'm speaking. Let's run the exact mechanics of a fully engulfed fire center located on County Road 3106 in the winter. Homes back up directly to the site The school is 1.25 miles away. Downtown is 1 mile away, and I-35 is 1.5 miles away. Under a steady 15-mile-per-hour northern wind, which is average for Abbott, a catastrophic fire at this facility creates a deadly 2-mile toxic plume. The wind pushing due south traps I-35, the school, downtown properties, and the northern outskirts of West, directly in a kill zone. This will shut down I-35 for hours, if not days. According to the Hill County Emergency Operating Plan, Appendix E, the estimated evacuation time for Abbott is 2 3/4 hours. We cannot evacuate a school of children in minutes. The plume will strike I-35 corridor within 3 to 6 minutes. Our real-time notification timeline is 20 minutes. That means every driver in that corridor will be exposed at an effectively 100% rate. Because no fire hazard data has been provided for our responding volunteer fire departments, the department will be entering a blind lethal environment. It releases toxic gases like, or not like, will be hydrogen cyanide, hydrogen fluoride, and hydrofluoric gas. Hydrogen cyanide instantly halts respiration. At these high concentrations, the immediate kill rate for individuals exposed for 20 minutes, think about evacuation time, 20 minutes, approaches almost 100%. Seniors and young children face immediate respiratory distress and cardiac arrest before they can physically escape. Furthermore, Annex F admits that our firefighting resources can be completely depleted in a large-scale disaster. To suppress an escalating fire of this scale, we would need 3,000 to 5,000 gallons of water per minute. That means one full mutual aid tanker must arrive and dump its water every single minute. That is not possible. We completely lack the municipal infrastructure for this volumetric strain. Under Annex U, Section 5, our hazard mitigation coordinator is legally bound to systematically reduce this risk. Passing this waiver without an approved emergency response plan or certified safety data directly violates our emergency operating plan. We cannot protect homes from a fire. We cannot supply with water. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Patrick Herring. Oh. Patricia Herring, sorry.
Okay. Good morning,
Good morning.
Judge Brazel and the rest of these honorable commissioners. I'm here representing this morning the Advocates for Truth organization. This is a nonprofit, nonpartisan group made up of Hill County citizens and beyond. And we want to this morning commend you for your moratorium. As you can see, there's much interest here in the data centers and what they will do to our community. We are very proud of you for the stand that you've taken. We know that it means a lot of work on your part and also a lot of stress over being sued and things like that. But we appreciate your fight. And we want you to know that our organization is about truth. It's about transparency. And that is why we appreciate what you're doing. And we hope you will take into sincere consideration the things that you're hearing on this morning. And I know it's overwhelming. There's lots of facts and lots to do. But we want to tell you that we stand with you and we support you. We know you will do the right thing. And thank you for what you have done.
Thank you, ma'am. Tanner Lehman.
Good morning. So my name is Tanner Heeman. I've been in the fire service for about 10 years. I've been in the DFW Metroplex area. I'm not going to talk about what ifs if it catches on fire. What I can say is that In my experience, the district I work in, our average house size is around 10,000 square feet. So we respond just in our city with 21 men out of 3 stations. Okay. We also have a mutual agreement with 14 other departments. I can tell you that if a fire does break out in a facility this big, we would not be able to obtain anything with it. It would burn to the ground. But the biggest thing that we need to talk about is the emergency response capabilities of us. We don't have it. Nor will we ever be able to put out a fire of that aspect. You're talking about 50, 60, 70,000 square feet, if not higher. Along with not having the personnel, like we talked about, we also don't have the infrastructure. I can tell you the city of Hillsborough right now, is not able to put out the PSI in the whole city to put out a fire that size. Nor will Waco, nor will Waxahachie. We will suck the hydrants completely out of the ground. So emergency response capabilities, infrastructure, and access must all be evaluated carefully before approval. Fire apparatus access is crucial. Roads, bridges, and culverts must be able to support responding fire apparatus, including aerial apparatus that can exceed 75,000 to 85,000 pounds, which will be required for a fire of this facility or of this scale. If access cannot be supported of that load, portions of the facility may not be reachable during an emergency. Water supply is also a major factor. Commercial fire section typically rely on hydrant space within 300 feet to maintain effective fire ground operations, not 500 feet. Greater distance increase aerial or operational difficulty and reduce firefighting effectiveness, especially in large scale incidences. Regional capability is limited. Within approximately 30 plus miles, there are only 2 aerial apparatus available. And both are well beyond the typical frontline service, the life standard, which is 10 years. Both of them are above 10 years, if not more. One of them is completely retired, and it's pretty close to about 15 to 16 years. Not only that, both of those aerials, which would be needed for a facility this big, plus probably 5 to 6 more, neither one of them have the personnel to staff them that have any certification or knowledge on how to use them efficiently, nor do they have the water supply to push it. It is also important to understand that the reality of extreme delay scenarios in rural systems, if local and mutual aid resources are all unavailable due to staffing, nothing says volunteers have to show up. They don't have to show up on a day-to-day basis. They're at work. They volunteer their time. So if they're unavailable, they're unavailable. And if no one is available to respond, a fire will progress without active suppression. During that time, on-site suppression systems and trained personnel become the only available line of defense, if there is any. These systems are limited in duration and scope, particularly in prolonged incidences involving electrical systems or lithium-ion batteries. The delay response can quickly escalate conditions beyond initial containment. So modern data centers introduce significant hazards, including large electrical systems, transformers, diesel generators, and possible energy storage systems. Lithium-ion batteries lithium-ion batteries incidents involve thermal runaway and prolonged cooling operations that can overwhelm initial response resources, requiring tens of thousands of gallons of water just for a single car. That's from experience. In FBA standard 855 recognizes these systems that require specialized designs because suppression systems alone may not control the event. Sprinklers and suppression systems are essential, but they are not fail-proof. They aren't designed to extinguish a fire, but only to keep it in check until units arrive. Average house size in some of the districts that I work in, around, like I said, around 10,000 square foot. Anything above 6,000 square foot has to be sprinkled. They fail every single time. I have yet to run a fire that sprinkler system didn't fail. If they work, if they're not maintained yearly by the facility or not made to be maintained by the facility.
Very many members.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Victoria. Carter.
Martin.
Perfect.
Hi. Bear with me for a few minutes. Public speaking is not my thing. In fact, I'm pretty nervous, but very emphatically about all of this that's going on in our county. And I say our county, because I'm not a transplant to here. I'm not a longtime resident to here. I'm a lifelong resident. I'm a fourth generation Hill County resident. My grandparents and my great grandparents picked cotton by hand in fields that have now been overtaken by solar farms. I've lived here all my life. And at some point, we have to ask ourselves, when are our elected officials going to just say, stop? And you made a good start with the moratorium. You really did. But now all the waivers and the lawsuits are coming. And I think we just all feel blindsided by all of this. Transparency is at question. Full disclosure is at question. And I'm sure you'll say, well, all the public notifications and all that were made, but who really reads the reporter these days? You know, I mean, all this to say, we feel blindsided. We just really do. Our land's being taken away. Our security's being taken away. I recently sold my home. And we purchased land, my husband and I, 5 miles from where we just recently sold our home. And factors that were involved in choosing how to purchase this land and where to purchase this land were based off of where the solar farms are, where the wind turbines are, where the battery stations are, and where the data centers are. We should not have been able to choose our forever home and our forever land based off of fear and what we were going to be next to. I have hundreds of acres of solar farms directly behind my new property. I have wind turbines to the left of me on the other side of Ash Creek and in front of me now. And I have pretty much full confidence in the fact that the hundreds of acres of farmlands directly in front of my house right now will not be sold for maybe 10 to 20 years, because I know that that generational family fought to keep the solar farms from their land. They would not sell the land. So I have confidence that maybe they won't sell to put data centers there, so that I can kind of live in peace and pretend that I'm not surrounded by all this mess that's going on, you know? And the last fact was that the county road was a dirt road. You know, if there's not progress and such going down that road, it stays a dirt road here in Hill County. Everyone knows that. Otherwise, it would have already been gravelled at this point, right? I hope that's making sense. County doesn't like to spend money on the roads around here. So the fact that I purchased land on a dirt road tells me that there probably isn't going to be a data center or much else down that road right now. I'm asking you to hold the moratorium in place. I know that this county is being faced with a huge, huge lawsuit, but they cannot sue all of the counties in the state of Texas. And Hill County, from its inception, has been one of the poorest counties out of all the 254 counties in the state of Texas forever. I mean, let them sue us. What's the worst that can happen to us? We have survived things like this before, where we've had no money for our county. I think that's really just all I have to say. Just please keep the moratorium in place. Please do not let threats of waivers or lawsuits help make decisions on what is going to happen with this county. And please consider full transparency and full disclosure so that everyone knows what's going on. Thank you.
Thanks, ma'am. Linda Polly.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Linda Polly with Save Hill County and the Texas Coalition Against Data Centers. As there are a significant number of issues that need to be addressed, I will briefly summarize the concerns. And I want to explicitly have an understanding that these are views expressly presented by constituents of Hill County that have contacted us. First, on behalf of the Save Hill County group and many other concerned citizens in this county, I will ask again for you to meet after 5 p.m. on the list of critical issues already provided: data centers, large-scale green energy projects, tax abatements, and guidelines. We ask that you allow your citizens to participate in government and share concerns if there is additional cost. We would rather spend the money needed for critical meetings to be held rather than things like Christmas lights, which was approved a $6,000 amount back in November of 25. We, the folks that fund this county, are willing to pay the cost. We ask you to please consider this request and please stop shutting us out on this concern and silencing our voices. Second, we think it's important to note for everyone in the room, your proposed proclamation only affirms that you will follow the existing statutes. As you yourselves have acknowledged on numerous occasions, you do not have any meaningful authority to regulate data centers. So effectively, all the proclamation does is says you'll follow the law. The proclamation is not a silver bullet and provides us no greater protection than we have today. Third, the Hill County Major Industrial Development Review Policy has study and evaluation parameters as well as escrow funding. However, the triggers of your authority are extremely limited. It only applies to projects that meet specific criteria categories, and so now let's consider them. You have development agreements, tax abatements, and pilot programs, all of which are voluntary, and most taxpayers do not want you to grant abatements and incentives. We all recognize that these folks will seek out areas that are developer friendly. Based on prior agreements with large green energy developers, we are likely seen as an excellent target market. This is probably why we have so many prospects knocking at the door. We don't want to incentivize these folks, so this trigger isn't helpful. Next, there are subdivisions approval under Chapter 232 of the Local Government Code, which likely won't apply. This is definitely not a silver bullet, so let's not try and convince people that it is. In fact, the subdivision requirements are triggered when an owner divides a tract of land into 2 or more parts. In reality, unless you're in West Texas where land is sold by the section, these developers are not going to need to subdivide. They are putting parcels together, not subdividing them. Finally, there are OSSF septic regulations, which are the one area that the county can regulate when a septic is required. It would be helpful to understand how many of the current prospects will need OSSF approvals, and will the county fully enforce this review program if the OSS permit is the only approval the developer needs from the county? Also relevant is the review program is implemented. Is the resulting data going to be made public, and are you going to start allowing citizens to understand the scope, magnitude, and risk of these projects? Or will this all be considered in executive sessions with the citizens only finding out when construction begins? Our fourth point is the need to express significant concerns on the proposed moratorium waiver agreement. To begin, we would like to point out that we have a real document in detail and would ask that you closely evaluate any potential moratorium waiver agreement, as it will set the precedent for future requests. There is a long list of concerns with this agreement, but in the interest of time, I will give just a brief list. The document is riddled with errors. Did anyone even proofread it? In the notices section, there's bold underlined words in the middle of the paragraph that say error, reference source not found. Through error, reference source not found. You are only requiring an escrow of $202,500 for use as a mitigation measure in the event the CR 3106 data center project materially impacts Hill County infrastructure, emergency response capability, or public safety. In light of the potential hazards, the proposed amounts seem ridiculously low. The requirements for fire protection, which is critical, with such a facility being so close to the community of Abbott and residential homes, only provides for fire hydrants, with the developer only having to perform to the standard of good faith, commercially reasonable effort. The document's use of the standard of good faith, commercially reasonable effort.
Your time's up.
Is Melissa Autry next? I believe she's giving me
Yes,
5
she is.
minutes. Okay. The document's use of the standard of good faith, commercially reasonable effort provides significant protection for the developer and will likely make enforcement challenging, particularly when you have development occurring in areas where the infrastructure cannot handle the demands of this scale of development. This clearly limits their responsibility and places all citizens in the area of a risk. This agreement is one-sided and provides no real protection for the citizens of Abbott or this county. Another big question which is on everybody's mind, how many data centers are planned for Abbott? You all know, everyone's wanting to know. So the proposed moratorium agreement is with Abbott Land Holdings LLC and references a 270-acre site off of County Road 3106. But the lawsuit was filed by RCM Hill LLC and references 880 acres, but never mentions a location. So should we assume that there are two projects in Abbott? And are you granting a waiver to the group that has not filed a suit as of yet? We are concerned that this horrible agreement sets a precedent for the hyperscale data center. Why are we rushing to sign a waiver to the moratorium with an agreement that doesn't appear to have been closely reviewed and does not adequately protect? We are asking you to please not have a knee-jerk reaction. You do not have to take action today and need to consider the best methods to protect this county from legitimate public health, safety, and welfare threats. Lawsuits take time. Once again, please hire a fire marshal. We know it's a process. We know that it's a budget issue, but there are people that are qualified, and everybody's wanting to help and pitch in, whatever that takes. Adopt the appropriate national fire protection codes which apply to Hill County at this time, and revise your moratorium to legally address the health, safety, and welfare concerns. Consider employing outside counsel to assist in strategizing a method to protect the county. Don't jump to act, as those actions will have significant consequences to all. Your legacy, how you will be remembered for generations to come, will be determined based on the decisions that you all make today. In summary, meeting in the evening on these critical matters would mean so much to so many of our constituents that cannot be here at 8:30 in the morning. Take real action to protect us. Don't just adopt documents with no meaning. Please don't make a knee-jerk reaction when it comes to the moratorium. The entire state of Texas, if not the whole nation, is looking to all of you now. Your moratorium made you the tip of the spear. Please don't abandon your constituents. Hill County citizens want to fight to protect our rural way of life. And what we also want you to know is this. People, this didn't start with this commissioner's court. This started back in about 2007 or 9. And honestly, we have men on this court that were depending on who was leading them, sitting in that chair right there. And unfortunately, I think all of us have seen that wasn't happening. And so we commend you, Judge Brazel, for actually giving us all the time, because the previous gentleman that sat in that chair did not. We actually feel that y'all are listening to us.
Yep.
And we appreciate that.
Yeah.
And for too long, in Hill County, it has been a part of the good old boy system, and I think we're all done with it.
Yep.
So please, join with us. And we want to help you. We really do. And Scotty, thank you for your service. We're sorry that it's ended like it has. But all we can do is come together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Tom Whelan? Or Tim Whelan, apologize.
Morning, Ken, Tim Wyland. Spoken to you a number of times. Last time was 3 in the morning. I was in a different area. Appreciated that. You guys are doing a grand job. Please pass this around to everybody. All right. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna make this quick. I'm gonna try to get some personal points later, but let's do the facts first. Page 2, highlighted in red. Everybody's already said, $200,000 insufficient funds to protect us. Everybody at this table and everybody in this room. Next item in red, they keep talking about a cure period of fixing stuff that we find broken on their project. 45 days, 30 days is a better number if you're gonna go with this waiver. Who's gonna do the oversight? Who's gonna ensure that the project is done correctly? We need to have a hand in that to make sure that the deficiency is detected early so that we don't have to worry about trying to fix it later. Escrow money is coming out of the property. When they keep saying we need to fix it and then they'll pay us back. I don't agree with that, but if we're gonna take escrow money out to pay for it, are they gonna replenish the escrow money that we took out back into their escrow account? Again, 30 days, next line down. If the data center expands, we're talking about in this particular document, if the 200 acres or so that they're talking about is all they want to cover. Well, if it expands, is that covered under the escrow? Do we get more money for that more property that they're getting? Okay. They want complete erasure so that they're not covered by anything. The site's gonna be turned into an industrial complex. It's no longer gonna be farmland. If they want to keep the land and not use it for industrial complex and only residential, I'm fine with that. However, if they do anything other than farming on that piece of property, we need oversight. Next line down. They're talking about a pre-construction condition. What is a pre-construction condition in our roads? Our roads suck. So are they going to return our roads to a bad state of condition on their repair and give us a big bill? No. All right. Nothing against roads, guys. It's an ongoing battle. Hill County, all right, indicated the next line, of course, page 3 there, indicates the extent to the property owner is going to pay above the escrow amount for any repairs. In other words, we go and fix something out of our pocket and we go back to them for payment. How much are they going to pay over? We say, well, to fix that the way it's supposed to be done right, it's going to cost you this much. They say, well, no, then we're in another lawsuit. Property drainage, the next line down, submitted to the county for review. I highly recommend 180 days review to give yourselves plenty of time to review what they're speaking about in their property drainage on their runoff. I had the same problem with the solar panel folks. I did get some resolution out of them. I still have water backing up on my property because of all the dirt work that they did. Moving on down to the next one, we're talking about culverts and drains. Again, 30 days on that culverts and drains, but that shouldn't just include their property. It should include the neighboring properties, i.e. my property got backed up with rainwater because of their work, okay? They need to make sure that they take care of all the properties around it, the floodplain and so forth. Move on to the next page, item in red. We're talking about 20 pounds of pressure at 2,000 gallons a minute. You just heard that 3,000 gallons a minute is minimum. Pressure should be at least 50 or industrial standards. 20 pounds per square inch is not enough to put out a fire. Lithium fires, how are we going to suppress them? Are we using halon? Are we using some other sort of suppression system inside these factories? If so, moving on down to the next item, who is training our fire departments? Volunteer fireman for a number of years out in western Nebraska. I'd run into a dang burning building at 18 years old naked if I had to put out a fire. Don't recommend it now. I'm not saying our volunteer fire departments are bad. I'm just saying that they're not trained in this type of firefighting techniques. Again, with 30 days, next line down. Escrow costs keep coming up over and over again. They're going on to the next page. They keep talking about property rights and water rights and so forth in the United States. Well, this is the state of Texas and it also needs to be labeled in there. Studies have to be completed before they do any work. Highly recommend it.
I defer my time. Kim.
Yes, ma'am.
Most important one, in my opinion, is the documentation that they're requiring, that they put in this document. Don't limit yourself. Do not limit yourself on required documentation. Suggest all parameters and all requirements associated with this kind of a construction project and or ongoing use of this property after it's completed. Next item down is noise abatement. I was suggesting a quarter mile. No. 2.5 miles minimum noise abatement, the ability to handle it. Next page. Property owners must agree to supply all pre-study discussions that they talked about in their lawsuit. They've already got it. They say, well, let's show it up. let's give it to us so we can see what it looks like, the county, you folks at the table here, so you can see how and whether it's a good idea or bad. I don't like the idea of giving them a waiver. It sets a bad precedent, a bad idea. Any lawyer is gonna tell you, if it's already out there, oh, well, I can do it too. No, not a good idea. Moving right on, all agreements must be transferred. We get a new owner. This guy builds it and boom, halfway through the build or at the end of the build, he sells his property to somebody else. Who's the new guy? How are they gonna protect the county? Do these rights that we have worked so hard to get into place carry on to the new guy? I doubt it. We gotta make sure that's taken care of. All property owners have to be obligated to be good neighbors. Moving on down to the next red line item. This concerned me. The parties were talking about addressing emails and or US federal mail to the people who are doing this. And they said parties outside the United States. Who's outside of the United States going into Hill County here? How come we don't know about it? And why are they involved? Okay, this should be a US project. We also need only one point of contact for this project. So you don't have to go racing around the entire world trying to find out who owns the stuff, so we get the correct documentation, so we get a proper response. I don't want this, well, you gotta call him, you gotta call him, you gotta call him. I've been dealing that with solar panel and the light issues, so it's not easy. It's not easy getting over. That completes my fact portion of it. Real quick, like, you guys are doing a great job. It's tough. It's tough. There's people here. I've already told you, there's folks in the back. I guarantee you, if we could get 200 people, cough up $500 a piece and we'd have this fire marshal right now. Okay? We'd have the money in the budget to pay for it. I'd cough up $500 to help out, get this county some protection with the fire marshal. These folks want it. And they're the ones who are doing the job and the living already. It's a good place to live. We don't want unregulated cowboys rolling into our neighborhood and saying, oh yeah, we're gonna take advantage of you. We're not Hooterville. We're not Uncle Joe. We're intelligent people. Last point I'm gonna make, there's a committee of people who would love to be under your guidance and give you support as an advisory committee. It's tough enough to make the decisions, but to have somebody to help you direct the public so you don't have to continue to listen to, yes, it's an emotional subject. Facts, organize them, put together a Kaizen so that you can have the stuff on the table and go, boom, here. This makes sense. This makes the lawyers happy and go on from there. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Chief Strickland, Abbott Fire.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
I'm Chief Strickland, Abbott Fire. I've been on Abbott for 20+ years now. Seen a lot come, I've seen a lot go. But when it's a major catastrophe, it's major. I stood on the grounds of West the night it blew up. I lost my guys. It's not if it happens, it's when it happens. Just a little background. 2 data centers, both Amazons, caught fire. 1 year they made, or within 4 years, they made 84 fire calls to that plant. In April was a 2-alarm blaze that cost $50 million in damage. And the first responders, 24 hours nonstop. They had water source. We don't. Concern is now you've got all your first responders on that. What about your house when it's on fire with your child in it? We have one of the best ESD boards I have ever seen in this county. Give 100% and fight for us to get equipment. My equipment is still 20 years old. But it's a lot newer than most of these fire departments. Can you see, such as the West explosion, the first truck that made scene, the pump didn't work. They didn't have enough hose. We have an ESD board that backs us up, tries to keep us safe. But we can't be safe without you. We can't keep you safe. We are underfunded. Are they willing to donate money to help us become where we need to be? No. I have a solar farm. Within 1 month, responded to 3 fires. have yet to be compensated, at least for fuel. I had Bynum, I had Penelope, I had Aquila. 4 fire departments at that solar farm, all 3 times within 3 months. When you ask for a donation, we'll get back with you. When you say, where do I send the bill? We'll get back with you. I have literally sat on their front porch for hours. If they see me there, they ghost you. This is the way they treat the citizens in this county. Whether you're a first responder, you're a homeowner, they do some damage your property, they run. Who is this fair to? I commend all of you for standing up with us. One of the best commissioners' courts I've seen in years here. The pressure on the grid lines in the water is unbelievable. I've been trying to build a house on my property, but because of tap water, have not been able to unless I'm gonna spend $40,000 on a well. But these people want to come in and just take everything away. It's not fair to any of us. And it's not fair to your volunteers. 78% of America is volunteers. This county and most counties cannot afford paid fire departments. We train nonstop. We give 100%, just like all of you do. Our board is all volunteer. They have worked hard within the last year. We now have a building to call our own. We now have extra equipment. Yes, it's over 20 years old, but we have extra fire trucks in case ours don't roll. These are things to look at. Your safety and ours. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Tim Linus?
Tim Linus, thank you for letting us speak this morning. First of all, I'm gonna jump right into this. I thank you for your leadership over the last month, especially. Lots going on. I'm here to support the tools on the agenda today. The developmental checklist there are many concerns that can be addressed with that checklist. I know it's on the agenda and I ask that you pass that today. I ask that you adopt the fire code checklist today. It's on the agenda. Very much needed. I don't need to reiterate what these fine folks have said about our fire code and lack of, but we need that tool in our toolbox. I am 100% in agreement that we adopt this proclamation regarding large scale reestablishing the laws that are on our books today. Very important that we have a toolbox with tools in it, and we don't have anything right now. We're getting ready to have something. A month ago, we didn't have anything we could refer to. These items can be tweaked, modified, added to, taken away from as we move forward, but we need a starting point. We need that tool today passed, and I'm hoping you pass that. Number 5, I agree that you need to approve the RFPs, request for proposals that are sent out to high-level consultants that'll be on our side to evaluate these forms that we're asking for in the checklist. Another tool, very important tool. I'm going to ask today, number 6, for the agenda item to be placed on next week's agenda. As soon as you put it on there, is an advisory board immediately. It's another tool that we can use to help with the transparency, help with the public opinions. There's wise people in here. You've heard from them today. Very wise people here that understand this industry that can help us buffer what's coming, but hopefully stall it. If not, we get the best that we could hope for and not have our communities just decimated by this crap construction that's going on around Texas. Can't read my own writing. There are qualified people in this county right now willing to serve. I'd make number 7, again, there's going to always be adjustments and tweaks of policy. We're never going to agree on all of it. You know, there's points that have been made here. I don't agree on all of it, but you got to have a policy to start with. And we need to be able to amend it weekly if needed. you know, one of the things that's on the moratorium that was brought to my attention was construction water. Huge amount of construction water is required. They don't have it. I want to applaud the fire department that came today. They're the reason why we need the fire code. We need that national fire code adopted. I asked for it to be on the letter from the mom that shared today, her regulations that she had spoke about in detail, that should be adopted. It's a law that's already on the books. We don't have to go make one up. Just put it on the agenda and add it to our tool. Chris Coe, right here, wrote or spoke of a very huge tool that we have not addressed. I've been talking about state laws that are on the books. Guys, this man right here, that whole session over federal law, we don't have to go ask for it. It's here now. Adopt the proclamation, adopt his letter, just like it's written. We can tweak and amend it later, but it's just like the proclamation that y'all are doing today with the Texas state statutes. We need to put these folks on notice that we're following the laws that are with us right now. And they're there for us to use. So in closing or wrapping this up here, yeah, I thank you all for the work you're doing. And again, I want to recommend it. We support items 2, 3, 4, and 5 today. We need those tools on the books. I ask for, again, an advisory board to be considered to help manage this process. And then I also ask that you table the moratorium until there are some valid comments here. If you table it 1 week, work out some of the details in there. I'm not a fan of adopting their moratorium the way it's wrote, just for the record. That's all I have to say today. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Patty Donaldson.
Good morning, commissioners, judge, clerk. My name is Patty Donaldson, and I've been not a long-term resident here. Scotty,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you so much for your service, and unconscionable the reason for your resignation. We know that data centers, they are inevitable. We use data every day. All of our farmers use data. We have GPS in all of our tractors and combines and everything else. And it's important that that is supported. But what we don't want is for these companies to come in and basically rape our land. These are billion-dollar companies. There is no reason why we cannot hold them accountable prior to beginning their development. There's no reason. $200,000 in a thank you, escrow account, that is not adequate. We need to have in that escrow account money to repair all public roads. Would be nice if it was better than what it is now, yes. Also, it's highly likely that in 10, 15, 20 years, these are going to be obsolete. What's going to happen to those data centers when those companies go bankrupt? We need some way to reclaim that land. Also, I had heard in a previous session that there needs to be on-site, qualified, trained, on-site fire departments for each of these data centers. 20-minute response from a local volunteer or even paid fire department, totally inadequate. So we need to require them to have an on-site fire response team. Tim Linus gave me some information, and I have made copies for y'all. I think I have enough for you as well. So there's 3 that way. Well, I lied. I thought I had enough. Sorry.
I'm sure they'll give me one of theirs.
Okay, good. So a potential solution to this would be a 391 commission, and Judge Brazel, I sent this to you last week. But it is basically in the state local government code, and it provides for 2 local entities, 2 counties, 2 cities, a city and a county, to form a commission whereby it can protect the health and safety and welfare of all of the residents that are in those 2 entities. I also have It's a lovely little summary on how to. The teacher's gone, but I'm all about visual. So this is what I would suggest that we look at, in addition to the federal laws that are in place. And I have copies, and I am so sorry, at the top of this page, I was writing with my mouse on the PDF, so it is very legible, but it's all letters except for 391. And I have a copy of the first 2 pages of this code if anybody else wants one. Anyway, I just want to encourage you, as Tim said before, consider all the resources that are already in place. It is important, and I appreciate that Commissioner Lake and Commissioner Hawkins voted against, because from what I understand, the county didn't have legal standing to do so, but I also appreciate those that voted in favor of the moratorium to at least give us time to do some research, make plans, and protect the residents of Hill County. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Patty.
Michelle Smith? No.
I'm Michelle Smith. I live within 3 miles of the proposed data center in Naples. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the gas power plant that NRG wants to put in just inside the Hill County lines. That is part of that proposed data center. As Lauren Dukeman mentioned, but she's already left. These power plants emit hazardous air pollutants that are harmful to our health and have constant noise. My husband is an Army veteran that already suffers from chronic bronchitis and hearing loss from his time overseas. This power plant would be detrimental to his health. And where we sit, if I look out my backyard off my porch, we would be able to see the power plant and the data center. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Shane Turner? No, it's Turner, last name Turner.
Yeah. Hey. Got any room for a big guy? Okay, I moved to Abbott 2014. I'm from Waxahachie. I'm driving down 3110, right there, 3111, boom, I get hit. There ain't no yield signs, there's no stop signs. DPS shows up, gives me a ticket, says, hey, you know, you were in the wrong. I said, no, I wasn't. So I went to Malone Courthouse, Texas Transportation Code 545-151, right? And it says when you're approaching a paved street that you need to yield. So 3110 being the approved road and 3111 not being. Now we're going to go to data center. We're going to come back here to 3106, no yield signs. And we're going back to 3145, no yield signs. And you got a whole bunch of contractors, a whole bunch of employees are going to be working building this thing if it goes through. They ain't going to know where they're at. And there will be a lot of wrecks because nobody's going to know to yield. I live with my mom, 79. She lives with me. So I have a niece in Arlington. I got a sister in Arlington. When they come down, I say, hey, y'all be careful because there's sunflowers on this corner. There's corn, you know, the farmers. And don't go blowing through them intersections because you don't know who's coming. Now, everybody out here knows when you come up to the intersection, slow down, watch the speed and everything. There ain't no posted speed limits. It's all, you know, done basically from the community. You might have a kid hot and rodding, but the most part, everybody's kind of, you know, same. I look at it from the safety side, it's going to get dangerous. That little road ain't made to handle that kind of. It's not people that don't know what they're doing. It's just they don't know where they're at. You know, if you don't know these roads, you can make it. And when they were building the solar farms or whatever, you'd have an 18-wheeler go down the wrong road. Well, 3110 has 2 weight limit bridges. So if you run a generator across that bridge down by the Youngs and you mess that bridge up and I'm on my way to 7-Eleven to get me a Coke, you know, that bridge may not be stable anymore. So there has to be some kind of, you know, they say they're going to fix the roads.
but that doesn't matter when it happens. You know, somebody's gonna get hurt, is what I'm saying. If those roads aren't really, you know, they're gonna have to really have infrastructure. Or otherwise, they're gonna come in there like they're doing in Whitney, and it's just a mess. So that's my thing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Brent Cromwell?
Morning, everybody. Yes, thank y'all. We moved to Abbott in 2019. We bought land from Jim Griffin. Right there, are you Justin?
Yes, I am.
Been wanting to meet you. Guys, we live in a very transactional and beneficial world, right? What we do every day benefits somebody, whether it's yourself or somebody else. The emotional part about this, we all have emotions, right? We all live in Abbott, we support it. We all have emotions about it. The emotional part about it is the safety. That's one you just talked about it. I will be the very first fence line this data center backs up to, is what it is. What I drew. You know, we moved from Waxahachie to get away from all that stuff. We love Abbott. It's coming to us, is what it is. You know, the emotional part for me is I'm 50 yards from where my kids play in some data center coming. You know, the transactional part about this and the beneficial part about this, we moved to Abbott to experience this community, experience the school district, have our kids grow up with the right kind of moral values to be something, somebody, someday. That's what we're going to benefit from Abbott. This stuff happens, you're taken away from us. That is getting taken away from us when y'all do this, if we approve it. You know, I told Jim I was raised when I say something, I mean it. And if I say I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. He wanted me to let y'all know that he is not suing the county, guys. Jim Griffin is not suing the county. Justin, you're not suing the county, right? It's the other data center group.
That is correct.
Yeah, so they're not suing the county, just so y'all know. That matters.
We're still a bad guy though.
And donate to the fire department's not gonna fix it. That's all you want to do. They would appreciate it. Guys, it's transactional, it is what it is. It stinks. We're all here to fight for our rights. We all want to make sure that we have the same community that we all either grew up in here or moved to and appreciate. We're here to fight for it. We need y'all to fight for us as well. Like you said, I don't know any of you gentlemen. A lot of people come up here and tell you thank you for your time when we do appreciate it. It's unfortunate that this is coming to us. You know, the small part of me and the jealous part of me or the selfish part of me is what happens when the trash from all these workers come in, blowing my property and kill one of my cows. You guys got cows? Y'all can't answer me. You know, that stinks. That's gonna be terrible. My cows are probably a little bit different. We don't have to get into that. Right? So at the end of the day, I want to leave you, Jim, with this. It's plain and simple. Talk about fire, building basically a fire bomb right next to my house. 20 minutes. We live 2 miles from the volunteer station. Our house is gone. My kids, my 3-year-old, my 8-year-old, Tucker's kids, all these guys. What are y'all gonna do? You want that on your hands? You want that on your hands? I'm emotional right now because I care about it. I care about my family. The transactional part is terrible. We can't avoid it. But y'all can do something and stick up for us. Plain and simple. Thank you.
Luann Langley?
Morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name's Lou Ann Langley. I'm actually a Johnson County resident. I have deep ties to all this area. My relatives came from Tennessee in covered wagons to Grandview. My grandmother grew up in Grandview. Then they had land down in Peoria for many, many years. And actually, my great-great-grandfather was a sheriff in Glen Rose. So I've got deep ties to this area. This means a lot to me. I know you're talking about the Abbott Data Center, and I first want to commend the Abbott Fire Department. My husband is an employee of Union Pacific Railroad, and he was down there for straight 24, 30 hours working that. He saw things that he will never forget when they were walking the line. What I'm concerned about, nobody has brought up this 8 million square foot data center that's gonna be in Maypearl. That's and part of your county is there. This is how underhanded these data centers are, because the developer has put their gas power plants in your county, Hill County, to avoid Alice County City EPA air quality regulations. So that tells you they're gonna try to sneak around and do anything they can. Another thing is talking about the young lady that said it's gonna generate 1.2 gigawatt turbine gas plant will generate 45 to 85 decibels of continuous sound. I live exactly looking out my front yard down towards where the hazardous landfill is. I'm estimating I'm maybe 5 miles. I'll be able to see it from my front yard, probably hear it when the wind blows, the lights I will definitely see. It will emit 962 tons of air pollutants a year, including 40,000 pounds of hazardous air pollutants. Now let's talk about just the general site itself. You know, you guys haven't really supported Johnson County or any of the surrounding counties regarding the PFAS situation. Well, let me tell you, since 2014, this is me in the Star Telegram, okay? Back in 2014, when I caught Renda Environmental scattering biosolids on the roads out there around FM 66 and around there, Channel 11 came out. I was on Channel 11 News. I was also in the Star Telegram. This land that they're going to put this on has had biosolids applied on it since then. So that's going back many years, okay? What do you think is gonna happen? And I'm gonna tell y'all, I know there's farmers in here. I worked for a feed store for many years. I am not against using organic fertilizer. What I'm against is the chemicals that are in it that have affected Tony and Karen Coleman in Johnson County, killed 58 of their cows, 4 horses, both stock tanks full of fish died. They can't drink their well water, and they are both now sick themselves. What do you think is gonna happen? Because people have told me, y'all use biosolids all around here. When they start stirring up this land and we get the south winds that blow this way and into your neighboring counties, Johnson County, Ellis County, those particles are gonna get in the air. And that's what we're gonna deal with. And then what are they gonna do with the dirt they're moving? That should have to be tested before they can take any of that off the property to make sure that the PFAS level in it is not high as that it's supposed to be. Because you can't take it anywhere. And plus spreading it, the wash off, you know, is gonna go into your creeks to Chambers Creek. I mean, the other one in Abbott, anything, I don't care if they have closed loop, they're gonna have to change the stuff in it, the water they use in it. Where are they gonna dump that? When these servers go down, and they will, where are they gonna take those? And I don't know if any of y'all know that they're supposed to, any of these data centers, the equipment that they're using, if any of it is gonna be for anything for the government, they are not allowed to use anything made from China, and they're already being caught doing that. So we support you. I mean, I know Larry Woolley, County Commissioner, Precinct 1 is my commissioner. He supports you guys. I do, because you were the first ones in the state of Texas that have done what you've done. And we look up to you for that. Everybody in the state of Texas is looking to you. We need to stay strong and to not give up. My farrier that lives in Blum, I went to the Blum meeting last Thursday night and listened to Mr. Holcomb speak. And his property, this data center in Blum is gonna bump right up to his property. So in closing, just please don't give up. Keep fighting the good fight. We need you guys, because you're setting the standard for the rest of the state.
Thank you. Michelle Moore.
Hi, I'm Michelle Moran. Yes, it's okay. I get it all the time. If they're mad at me, they really get it. So I come from Arlington. I left Arlington because they took my rights away for Airbnb. So I keep hearing here that when they buy this land, these ranches, they have rights. Well, I had a right to Airbnb, but they took them all away from us. Grapevine and Arlington, we are not allowed to have Airbnbs. So if they can take my right away, I don't understand why we can't take their right away as data centers, based on what you're hearing throughout the people here, that what's gonna harm us. So just something to consider, that we did have our rights taken away. We took it to Austin and we still lost. So we sold our house, we left, and we're out here. Now we have this issue. So if the ranchers are buying these ranches that have ag exemption, are we gonna hold them accountable for the 3 years tax, rollback taxes? It's a very important piece that we need to make sure that they understand that that tax should be taxed to them as well. It's a big amount that they would be responsible for if they turn it into something different than the ag. My granddaughter's here with me, and she's like, we don't need data centers, Granny Bear. It's gonna hurt our environment and harm our animals. That's coming from 11-year-old. I didn't educate her with that. She just knows that it's gonna hurt. She goes by Laguna Park, and she worries about the animals that are right next to Laguna Park, the development. I sure would like to see Angela Orr here to support y'all. Can't get hold of her, won't respond to me. I think she should be here. She's our representative for Hill County. I think she should be. I have other relationships with House representatives that I've reached out, that's also going around. And I've asked him to get involved because Angela doesn't want to show up. I've reached out to her. Other people have reached out, and she should be sitting right here with y'all and supporting y'all and listening to what people have to say. Where is she at? I mean, we voted her in, and she's nowhere to be found. Just to everybody know that there's a nuisance law, and you should read up on the nuisance law, and it affects you. If it affects you, take action. Don't let it stop you, because there is a nuisance law in Texas that holds people that with data centers that will change your property value to noise to anything, that you can take the nuisance law. It's in place with Texas. So there is a nuisance law. So I appreciate everything y'all have done. Keep doing what you're doing. It's very important for our county. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Julie Waters.
Good morning.
Morning.
A lot has happened since May 12th, the day you passed the moratorium. And I know that you have been through a lot since then. And I want to thank you for standing up for your residents and being a leader in the state of Texas. Here is what Hill County has started. Here is just a small sample of the number of counties and cities that have followed your lead. These are the counties that are considering moratoriums: Bell County, Tom Green County, Andrews County, Lamar County, Nolan County, Ford County. Cities: Amarillo, Lubbock, El Paso. Since your meeting, Ag Commissioner Sid Miller has come out asking for a moratorium in this state because of what you did there on May 12th. He cited you guys. The state of Florida has banned data centers. So thank you for starting this wave of cities, counties, and states that are considering moratoriums. Now, I know that you've been hit with a lawsuit, $100 million lawsuit. That seems quite frivolous, actually. But here is what the moratorium has done for you. By passing this moratorium, 4 other developers have come forward that you did not know about previously. The same thing happened in Andrews County. As soon as they put the moratorium on their county commissioners meeting, a developer came forward. So I commend the counties for taking up this topic. Moratoriums are forcing developers to come forward instead of building in secret. You cannot fight what you don't know about. Number two, the moratorium gave you time to develop a regulatory framework to protect the land and its residents that you are considering today. The proclamation and the document checklist is very strong. The one thing that I would recommend strengthening, just from a legal standpoint, is the water usage section in 3.01. Right now, it only talks about total water demand projected. I think it would really help if you just added a few more words. It says including daily usage during construction. Construction is when a great deal of water will be used for something as simple as spraying down the roads. So that's what I've seen throughout Texas. You just have trucks just throwing water on the roads to keep dust down. So lots and lots of water will be used during construction. You have to be on top of that aspect of it. Otherwise, I believe it is an incredibly strong framework that will give data centers pause about building here in Hill County. Let me tell you what happens when county commissioners do not consider moratoriums or develop regulations like this checklist, or have people who come forward and speak to their county commissioners. You will end up like Haskell County. Haskell County has about 5,000 people, while Hill County has 35,000 people. Haskell County is tiny, and we have 3 huge Google data centers that are being built there, with a 4th one coming in. Instead of fighting, Haskell County gave a 100% tax abatement to Google. Google, a $4 trillion company, they're giving a tax abatement to. And what do they get in return? 50 permanent jobs. That is what is written in their tax abatement. Why are counties giving trillion-dollar companies tax breaks? So now data centers see Haskell County as open and welcoming, and they will be getting a 4th data center. And their residents are extremely upset. That's about 1 data center per 1,000 residents in Haskell counties. So please do not be like Haskell County. Keep being Hill County. Keep leading the state. Keep fighting the good fight and standing up for your residents and protecting the land. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheyenne Hastings.
Morning.
Morning.
My name is Cheyenne Esty. I'm sorry. I'm the daughter of the owner of plot 108 583. We are going to be directly surrounded. 240 acres of data centers. I've looked out of that window for 25 years. I've moved to Waco for college. So take 2 years, 3 years away out of being on this property. I've seen cows my whole life on these fields. What is going to happen? Let me read just some of your speech. You can see we are directly in front of this entire plan. I heard about this on Sunday. It's been 14 months and happening. I found out 5 days ago. The moratorium happened on the 12th. My family deserves the rest as this county. I have a 5-year-old. If she wanted to stay on this property until she was 60, I would want her to be healthy. I don't want a chance of cancer or anything that is going to happen. Those low hums that is going to be constant for 24/7 for the rest of our life. No other property is directly that close. to anything. There's a family living here, we have animals, there's wildlife. We don't know the long-term effects. My mom, she has agoraphobia. She has not left my property since COVID, March 2020. My mom has not left the property. It is July 2027. She hasn't left in 7.5 years. She wants to see cows. We don't want data centers. We don't want those lights. We don't want the sounds. How are we going to be able to sleep at night with those lights? It's going to be like Alaska. HCR 3106 already doesn't get its roads maintained. With all the construction that would be coming forth, we already have farmers and 18-wheelers that go through, and it's hard to maintain just what's already here. I don't see how it would get fixed or maintained if hundreds of construction vehicles would be coming through. The moratorium was passed on the 12th. I understand they're trying to do a waiver. The residents that also border, it's not just our home, there's other homes off of FM 1252 that are close, just not as touching their property as closely. We deserve the pause also. We deserve to have the time to figure out the long-term effects, to see what's going to happen in the future. If it doesn't stay paused, we are going to be directly affected very soon. And I think all the families that have lived here, some of them have only just been here a decade. We've been here 25 years on that property. I think we deserve to be able to stay if we would like. If that happens, I don't see how we would. It affects cows' birthing rates. It affects water usage. The wildlife in the acreage behind our home is immense. We have coyotes, foxes, possums, white-tailed deer, skunks, bobcats, raccoons, possums, armadillos, hawks, and owls. And that's just what I've seen in the last couple of months. There's wildlife beyond that. Where would they be going if that 240 acres is gone? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Matt Boyle.
Good morning. My name's Matt Bowl. I'm not gonna talk about a whole lot of numbers. I think they've been rehashed over and over, and they're all valid points. And I hope I'm preaching to the choir. Here to talk about just from a basic needs standpoint. I'm fourth generation Abbott resident, and I've been working that farm since I was a kid with my grandfather, my great grandfather. Back when we used to haul square bale hay, for any of those who remember those days. I know right now, currently, the water and ecosystem is currently at risk. We've talked about that already this morning. We have to limit the amount of cattle on our land. As for jobs, those are temporary. I had worked for a heavy equipment company that was in an Oregon town, not too dissimilar to Hill County. And we built data centers for Facebook. And it was pre-COVID, 2018, 2019. And that was fantastic for business because we had the only contract there, but it ended up robbing the resources and it ended up killing that town. And nobody was there to clean up the mess. Nobody had any money to fix the town. It's pretty much dead now. As far as the roads, the long-term effects are permanent. I saw that firsthand. tore up the roads. The solar farm killed all the roads in Abbott coming and going. And someone mentioned them having land next to these proposed data centers. If there is a fire, that's gonna kill my land and anybody around it, all the farmland and all the winds we have on our land instantaneously. So, and anything on it, livestock and whatnot. At some point, the long-term effects are gonna catch up. We are talking about them here now, but those who are making the bigger decisions on these data centers, they're not talking about them at all. One of the first questions I had was, at some point, are there gonna be more data centers than crops? And then where are we gonna be getting our food from? We have no idea how much the farming industry is supporting the local industry, the local markets, and the socioeconomics of what we have today. So we're asking to help for help from those whose families have helped build the socioeconomics of this county and this country through years and generations of hard work and sacrifice, only to lose it all potentially for a payday for very few that will benefit only a few in a building that houses servers that only really, and I'm embellishing a little bit, but house digital photos and TikTok videos on all our phones already. So no one knows the domino effect of the outcome of these centers down the line. By the time we realize it, it's going to be entirely too late. So it's a good time to make a difference, not right now, not to waive the accountability, because the big word here is accountability, and those are trying to skirt that issue. Thank you for your service. First responders, thank you for your service. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Amy Teal.
Sorry, guys. Crowded. Okay. Been fighting allergies, so I apologize for my voice right now. Amy Teal, Whitney, Texas. My remarks today are mostly surrounding the recently approved Animal Advisory Board. I understand the data center discussion has sucked most of the oxygen out of the room, but the animal issues are still significant and in need of more countywide support and collaboration. Y'all might have seen that the Ellis County judge recently announced that a data center allows you to share matters of fact regarding issues brought up in public comment, that you share a quick update on where the appointment process is for this board. I understand the application has been right on the front page of the county website. Have you received enough applications? Do you need more people to fill them out? And can we expect a board appointment agenda item soon? I would also like to reiterate Linda's point about public comment. Next week, the Leon County Commissioners are considering adopting the Tarrant County rules for speaking, which require 24 hours to sign up, literally forcefully remove people for clapping, and bring the jackboot of government authority down hard on all sorts of speech that the county judge arbitrarily deems offensive. And ceding time to another speaker is absolutely not welcome. In this year, where the country is celebrating the 250th Declaration of Independence and you have to pay money for a license to fish, being able to speak is still a right that needs to be zealously defended. And in light of hearing the concerns of the direct neighbor who did not even know a data center would be built right next to her in Abbott until this moratorium was posted, in reviewing the checklist on item 2, you might want to include setbacks and notifications to property owners and residents within a certain distance. That's pretty much it for me. Thank you, Amy.
Do y'all want to answer that question?
No. I think she just wants to update it.
Okay.
Next.
We will update on our next commissioner's court agenda on the animal advisory board. Mr. Basil Zangari?
Point of order real quick, Judge.
Yes, sir.
Where's our legal counsel? Is it outside counsel today?
He's online.
He's online.
Yes, sir.
Is that Mr. Holmes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because he needs to pay attention to this today. You go start my time, Your Honor.
I'm making sure he's online. Since you brought it I believe so. Go ahead.
Okay, first, I want to thank Commissioner Scotty Hawkins for stepping down based on the things I'm uncovering in precinct 3. I believe stepping down is the right thing to do. Now, you guys talk about following the law. Well, the law's clear. Under Texas Local Government Code, section 87.042, when a vacancy occurs in the office of county commissioner, the county judge shall appoint a suitable resident of that precinct to fill the vacancy until the next general election. Judge Brassel, I've already thrown my name in that hat and expressed my interest. Whether you appoint me or not, I still win. If I'm appointed, I will protect Hill County and Precinct 3 to the full extent the law allows. I will represent the citizens, not the developers, not insiders, and not political friends. And if I'm not appointed, then the public will be watching closely to see whether this court chooses transparency, accountability, and the best interest of Precinct 3, or whether this court chooses more of the same politics that got us here. Now let's talk about this so-called data center moratorium waiver. Hill County passed the Green and Energy Data Center moratorium on May 12th, supposedly to protect citizens from unchecked development. But less than a month later, this court is now considering a moratorium waiver agreement with Abbott Land Holdings, that 3106 data center project. And from what I've reviewed, the waiver does not appear to say you may build one limited project under strict condition. It appears to move this developer forward on the entire property and protect them from the current moratorium and future moratoriums. So what exactly did Hill County accomplish? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like the county passed a moratorium that may have questionable enforceability, then immediately started carving out special exemptions for developers with enough money, lawyers, or leverage to pressure the county. That creates a serious legal problem. If Hill County grants Abbott Land Holdings a waiver but denies the next developer, that next developer may ask, why did they get a waiver and we did not? That opens the county up to claims of unequal treatment, selective enforcement, due process issues, equal protection arguments, and potentially massive civil rights litigation. And let's not forget, this agenda lists RCM Hill versus Hill County and U3 on the federal lawsuit. Hill County is already in litigation over these issues. So why would this court create a roadmap for every other data center developer to sue the taxpayers? That is exactly why government should not play favorites. Either the moratorium applies fairly to everyone, or it's a political stunt that collapses the second a developer threatens you with litigation. And while citizens are being told this is about protecting roads, water, fire departments, drainage, public health, and rural quality of life, this waiver appears to put taxpayers at risk while giving the developer the benefit. I also want to point out the quality of these documents. If a document this important contains sloppy drafting errors, missing references, vague terms, or language copied from some template without proper review, then this court has no business rushing it. A document like this should shape the future of Hill County. Citizen deserves answers. Now, who negotiated this waiver? Who requested it? Was it discussed properly in open court? Was this publicly clearly notified? I'm sorry, was the public clearly notified? Where is the exact exhibit showing the affected property? Why does this developer get protection from future moratoriums? How many more waiver requests are coming? And most importantly, is Hill County protecting citizens or protecting developers from the very moratorium the county just passed? Now, I want to put this court on notice regarding today's agenda. The agenda states this meeting is open to the public, both in person and online. And the public may view, hear, and address the commissioner's court through the online option. I'm here in person because the Zoom link was broken. If the county publicly notices online access, then citizens should be able to rely on that access. A broken link access creates serious public notice and access concerns under the Texas Open Meetings Act. Now that this is a defect has been brought to your attention, I'm asking this court not to proceed as if nothing happened. Recess, fix it, repost, or reschedule if necessary. I also strongly suggest that the court move these meetings after 5 p.m. so working citizens can actually attend. Stop holding major decisions at times when the public is at work, and then actually surprised when people say they were shut out. Failure to follow the law can lead to complaints, litigation, potential criminal referrals under Penal Code 3902 and 3903, and removal actions under Chapter 87 for official misconduct. Hill County citizens are watching. Protect the people, not the developers. Follow the law. Fix the agenda and stop creating loopholes that cost taxpayers millions of dollars. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Peter Ellis.
Morning, yeah, I'm again. Okay, I'm Peter Ellis, I'm from Fox Valley. The data center was played in Maple, Hill County borderline. Will be less than a quarter of a mile away from my house. I see other people have pains too with data centers. I make my research, I don't have all the fancy printout. But the bad news to any local town around the globe, it's pretty much what it is. A lot of water uses, where I live in Fox Valley, we was already told to conserve water. It's really bad news, and we're not even hit the speak yet with water usage because of the hot weather, like watering our plants or animals or whatever. So I don't understand how a development says they made a research, and that's a good place to be if already known for years that Fox Valley Water cannot supply any more water to anybody. Well, I moved out here 11 years ago. We was told we would be the last house on that water line, the last house. They cannot support any more houses. My neighbor next door built a brand new house, was trying to get a second meter. They asking for $17,000 or $150,000 to put a completely new line from 66 all the way to his house. It's ridiculous. When I moved out there, a water meter was $2,500, $3,000. I didn't even pay for it. The guy that sold me the house paid for it. And I don't understand why we can sit here and watching how everything goes down and nobody asks questions. Even you guys don't ask any questions. What will be the impact of the local population, like health-wise, water? You know, I mean, they put in that data center, like the next house, it's not even like 2 minutes walk. Those people are not gonna speak up because they're not allowed to. You know, then the next family have 8 kids. It's another 5 minutes away walk. I mean, why are we doing that? Didn't we learn from other scenarios across the country that this is bad news to put something like this close to families? I mean, West had a big explosion years ago. We find out it's a bad news to have citizens live close by something like that. Those fires, my fire department, Itasca, cannot support that data center if it burns down. We barely could handle 2 fires close behind my house. I had 2 fires in 1 week close to my house. It took them like 10 minutes to come up. They're 8 miles away from Maple, not 8 miles. They have a better equipment, but they cannot support electric fire. Electric fire is a completely different animal than a house fire or barn fire or hay fire, grass fire, completely different animal. Those brush trucks are not set up for that. Most of the little towns out here are set up with brush trucks. They like for grass fires mostly. So I don't understand why we sitting here and let this happen. It will affect everybody. It's not about me, it's about everybody here. I'm not speaking for me only, I'm speaking for everybody. You know, I'm worried. That's one time I will come home from work and I see big smoke coming up. In my house, it's close to that smoke. And I have to deal with this for 11 years because we had a lot of fires in the Itasca area, like a lot of big fires. Where like 3 to 4 fire departments in the surrounding area had to help out. What happened if the plant or the data center burst in flame and somebody's house burns? Do we have any help for them? No, because all fire departments will help out that particular fire. We're not set up. So all the people that spoke today, they're right. Our community is not prepared for something like that. And my question is, if they mean so good for us, you know, bringing jobs and whatever, then why are they so secretive about it? Why are they not open about it? Hey, we want to plant a data center. That's what you guys have any question, please come to us. They don't do that. For months and a half ago, we didn't even know. We found out by accident there will be a data center on 66. In 66, it's garbage. It falls apart. Everybody knows what drives from Itasca to Maple and back. This road, it's garbage. Like TxDOT tried the best to fix it, but it's impossible because the truck traffic increased since they put the new bridges in there, and you know it's now a wider road. They're hammering through the traffic for the last 10 years tripled. Mostly semi trucks. I'm not worried about the farmers. I love to see them. you do the job. That's my food, what's coming in my house.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Everybody signed up online? Lowell Williams, if you're online. there you
I'm
go,
here,
sir.
Jay.
All right, you can go ahead and start.
All right, I'd like to touch back on what Chief Strickland was talking about earlier. Well, some of y'all know, as a retired industrial firefighter, with FEMA certifications, industrial certs, I've been to Teeks. I recommend you guys take a field trip down to A&M to Teeks. Look at the industrial side. They're training all the time. I've trained there for years. Go down there and look. They'll let you spectate from the sidelines, but just to see the training that we go through, departments like Abbott, Blum, Covington. It used to be a difference. It was municipal, it was industrial. That's how we kind of separated us. The TCFP changed their guidelines, so they're doing a bunch of cross training. But departments such as Abbott or Covington or Blum, any of the above, do not have the funding to send anybody to Teeks for the proper training for industrial settings. And it is a different monster. Let's go back and talk about the hot zones. She was talking about if they had chemical releases or lithium fires or whatever, the plumes that would go up and how it would spread. Mutual aid under the NFPA 600 requires a mutual assistance agreement. The nearest hazmat team is out of Dallas, and that's going to be a long time getting here to Abbott, to Blum, to Maypearl, Files Valley, any of that. It's going to be a long time getting there. And again, these departments are not trained under NFPA 600 to even enter a hot zone. Depending on the fire, they're not even equipped for it, just for simple fact of A suits, B suits, just depending on what it may be, and being under air all the time. I guess what I'm trying to say is I want you guys to stand fast on what y'all have done. I hope the county attorney is and outside counsel is listening to us constituents sitting here. Let's keep this rolling. We do not need to give a waiver because, again, that's going to open up Pandora's box, as everybody has pointed out already. It's just a flat out no. That way we're not opening up for more legal litigation. Again, my name is in the hat for your county fire marshal. I've got the credentials. I'd like to touch on the Blum data center. I'm building my kids here on the ranch, building all my kids' houses. Since January the 17th, I was in contact with Woodrow OCL Water Supply. I bought the last 4 available meters that they could allegedly support. February the 2nd, I paid $65,000 to Woodrow Osceola for those 4 meters. As of today, I still don't have water meters for 4 houses that I've paid for that are complete, so my kids can move in those houses. But I was told Pacifico has went to Woodrow Osceola Water Supply Company asking to get on their water supply network. Woodrow Osceola informed them that they could not support it, but the talks are still in for the Blum Data Center and the Mark White Family Trust land to help Woodrow Osceola get enough wells, which they're needing 6 wells, but to help Woodrow Osceola to get those wells so they can actually get water to proceed with that process. I just wanted to throw that in there so everybody kind of knows where that one is standing. But other than that, I just want you guys to stand fast and honor where we're already at, and let's not regress. Let's keep going forward.
No quarter.
Yeah, no quarter for the weary. That's all I got, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Richard Hoffner. Oh, he conceded this time to Mrs. Hoffner.
Yeah.
Betty what? Betty,
Sure.
yeah, she already. That's it? All right. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and close the open forum portion of this meeting. We want to take a bathroom break before. All right, we're gonna take a 5-minute recess. For bathroom break, and then we'll go into our court orders. Yeah.